Hey there, it's Miss Turner again. It's good to see you today. Today we're going to be learning about nonfiction text features. So first we have nonfiction and fiction. Nonfiction are books or passages that are real. They have facts and information. So a lot of times those are our books about different topics that we might read. And then we have fiction. Fiction books are stories. So anytime you read Pete the Cat, that's fiction. Anytime you read The Little Mermaid, that's fiction. Nonfiction is what we're focusing on today. So we're going to talk about nonfiction books and the different parts. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see what I see. Give me just a minute, and you should be able to see a sparkling book in just a minute. All right, you should be able to see that. So text features. Let's go ahead and get started. First, our learning target today is I can identify text features in a nonfiction text. All right, so we're going to focus today on just finding those parts of a nonfiction book, those text features, and then tomorrow we're going to focus on using them. All right, so what are text features? Text features are parts of a nonfiction book and text that help us understand what we are reading and find important information. So they're the parts of a book. So just like you have parts of a picture you draw, parts of a puzzle, a book has parts too that go together to make it a complete book. So we're going to look at those different parts today and what they do. So the first part of a book that we're probably all familiar with, it's usually on the front, and it's the title. So the title or the title page tells us what the whole book is going to be about. It's usually on the front or the very first page, there's a title page. And the title tells us what the book is going to be about. So this one here says vegetables. So this book would probably be mostly about vegetables. All right. Table of contents. That's probably the next one you're going to come across. It's usually in the front of the book, and it tells us on what page we can find certain information. So if I was looking on this table of contents and I wanted to read cat on mat, I would go to page 10 to find that. So it tells us which page things are on, so we don't have to flip through all the pages. We can easily know that we want to start on page 10. So the table of contents tells us what is in the book and where. All right, our next part is the heading. I like to touch my head for heading to remind me that it's usually at the top of the page or at the top of a paragraph. So a heading tells us what that page or paragraph is going to be about. So it's not the whole book, it's just that particular part of the book. So for this one, it says all about fish. So even without reading all of this writing down here, I can guess that most of that is going to be about fish because that's what the heading tells me. So the heading is usually at the top. It's usually in a little bit darker print, just like it is here, and that's how we can find a heading. All right. An illustration or a photograph. So a photograph is like a picture you would take with a camera. An illustration is like a picture you would draw. And they both just serve to show us what we're reading about. So if we were reading about vegetables like we saw, there might be a photograph of a vegetable to help us get an idea of what we're reading in our mind. Right? And with a picture, there's often something called a caption. A caption is like a little box of information right under or on a picture. It tells us a little bit more about what the picture is showing. So here you see a planet, and then in the box it tells us this planet is Saturn. It's the sixth planet from the sun. So the box is just telling us a little bit more about the picture. So that's a caption. It's usually on or under a picture. A label. Labels are usually one or two words, and they point to different parts of a picture or diagram to help us understand what we're looking at. So maybe you're learning the different parts of a bike, and there's labels showing you the handlebars, the wheels, and right here in this picture, it's showing us the heat source, the arm, and the liquid. So it's just helping us understand a picture that is in a book so we can see the different parts. And a chart. A chart is like a table or a graph that shows us different information all in one place. So instead of having to read a long paragraph to find out how many people ate sandwiches or hot dogs, we can look right here and see the information quickly. So it's a quick way of showing us information in a nonfiction book. So it's usually in the format of a table like this or a graph like this. So that's what a chart does for us. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to read the book. This book is called Discover Water. So we're going to practice identifying those text features as we read it, and we'll come back to this book tomorrow to use the text features. So first, right here on the cover, what is this text feature we all know? This is the title, Discover Water, which tells us that this book is probably going to be mostly about different facts about water. And so we know that from this title. And this is kind of like a title page. It's a little bit different because it's an online book, but it tells us here the title, the author, and who illustrated the book and extra information about it. So the title and the title page. All right, let's get started. And what do I see here? I see a table of contents. This table of contents tells us where we can find different information and on what page. So if we wanted to read about wet water, there's page 4. So I found the table of contents. Next. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Wet water. Drink it, spill it, splash it, spray it. Water is wet. It is a liquid. It is fun to splash in water on a hot summer day. So here we have, up at the top, it's a heading. It tells us that this page is going to be about wet water, so water as a liquid. And we know that because I know that this is a heading because it's in different type of font, it's bigger, and it's at the top. There's also another text feature on this page. I see a photograph, and under that photograph is a caption, right? This caption is telling us a little bit more about this picture, telling us that it's fun to splash in the water. We can see that, but the caption tells us a little more. Let's keep reading. Liquid water rains down from clouds. It rushes in rivers and fills lakes. Water can be found deep underground. There's another caption. It soaks deep into the ground. It swirls in the ocean and crashes on the shore. Water is also found above ground. So I see another caption there and 2 photographs on that page. Cold, hard ice. What do we call that? It's at the top. That's a heading. It's telling us that this part of the book is going to be about cold, hard ice. All right, let's read. But liquid water changes. It gets cold. It freezes. It becomes hard ice. Ice can be smooth or bumpy. There's that caption again. Ice chunks float on a lake. So that caption there telling us what we see in this picture. It might be hard to tell, but the caption tells us more. It tells us that these are ice chunks on a lake. A snowflake is made of ice. It is full of holes like lace. When snowflakes pile up, they make white, fluffy snow. A snowflake usually has 6 sides, so we can see that, but the caption is telling us a little bit more about that picture. Snow blankets the ground on a calm winter day. Again, a caption. The coldest parts of Earth are covered in sheets of ice. Glaciers creep over land. Giant ice chunks float on the Arctic Ocean. So again, this is one we didn't talk about, but if you see bold words like this, you see how glaciers is bigger? That usually means it's an important word you need to know or a word that we're going to learn about. So glaciers is bold because it's an important word that you might not know. We call that a vocabulary word for this book. So glaciers is here and that stands out to us. So down here, the caption tells us more. A glacier is a slow-moving river of ice. So the caption is giving us not only more information about the picture, but it's also helping us know what this new vocabulary word means. Let's keep going. But ice changes. It warms up and melts back into liquid water. The warm sun melts an icicle. Invisible water vapor, another heading. If water warms up enough, it changes another way. It breaks up into bits too tiny to see. They float away. They become water vapor. Water vapor is a part of invisible air. Clothes dry because water has turned into water vapor. So we have a picture, we have a caption, a heading, and a bold word all on this one page. But then water vapor changes. It cools down, it forms tiny drops of liquid water. Fog is like a cloud that is close to the ground. The drops may form clouds in the sky, or fog over land, or dew that coats the grass in the morning. Amazing water. Most of Earth is covered by water, and it's a good thing too. Plants suck up water with their thirsty roots. People and animals slurp it up too. Every living thing needs water to stay alive. So I see pictures and captions, a heading, and these captions say the blue areas are Earth's oceans. A tree's roots seek water, deep under the ground. And this page says, think of all the ways you can use water for drinking, for cooking, for washing, for flushing, and water never runs out. It just keeps changing among its 3 forms. And then over here is another one that we haven't seen yet. This one is a chart. It's kind of like a table. It has different boxes, and in each box is some information all in one place. So all of the stuff we just learned is put here in this one little box for us to read easily. So it says water vapor is a gas. It's a part of invisible air. Water is a liquid. It is wet. Ice is a solid. It is cold and hard, the three forms of matter. So this whole chart took all the information that we just read and put it into one place so we can easily see all the information we just learned. Wonderful. So thank you for reading with me today. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a reading response. So we just read that whole book and found all of those text features in it. I saw lots of headings, lots of captions, lots of pictures, and even a chart. So today, after you close this lesson out, I would like you to look around your home. Find all of the text features we talked about today. You could look in a newspaper, a magazine, or a nonfiction book that you might have at home. So you don't have to just use a book. Magazines can be nonfiction, newspapers can be nonfiction as well. If you look here at the newspaper, I see a title, I see some headings. Same thing here with the magazine. I see a title on the front, and inside there's probably some headings and charts as well. So go ahead and take a look around your house and see what you can find. Go on a hunt for some text features. And tomorrow, we're going to come back and learn how to use those text features to better understand what we learned. So it's been great to learn with you today, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a great day.